So the Amex Trifecta is packed with insanely valuable credits, benefits, and features, and that's helped make the 3 credit cards in this setup some of the most popular cards on the market, but with total combined annual fees of $945 and a complicated structure that can sometimes make it tough to get enough value to justify that fee, I honestly think the Amex Trifecta as a whole might not be worth it for you. So in this video, I want to talk about both the good and the bad with this credit card setup and whether or not you should be using all these cards together. So as always, we're just gonna get right into it here. Now, full disclosure, I do have the 3 credit cards in this setup myself. So those are gonna be the $695 Amex Platinum, the $250 Amex Gold, and the no annual fee Amex Blue Business Plus. And I've been using the Amex Trifecta for almost 2 whole years now. But even though I personally have been able to get some good value from it, lately I sort of can't help but think about all the ways that the Amex Trifecta could be so much better. Now, right off the bat here, the 2 main issues I have with this credit card setup are that number 1, it's not targeted towards the average person. So each of these cards are really specific in who they're good for. And number 2, I don't think that the Amex Trifecta cards really complement each other all that well like the Trifectas from some other issuers do. So in other words, there's not really any advantage to combining all these cards together versus getting maybe just 1 or 2 of them. And that actually means for me, the question to ask might not be, is the Amex Trifecta worth it? But instead, could I get any value from any of these cards on their own? Now let's take a step back here to start off this video and talk first about what I really like about the Amex Trifecta before we get more into some of those issues. So first, let's talk about sign-up bonuses. Now, the sign-up bonuses on these 3 cards are always changing, but with these bonuses, you can get a lot of value very quickly. And just to give you an idea of that value, I'm gonna go over what the current public offers are as of the filming of this video. So for the Blue Business Plus, the current public offer is for 15,000 MR points after spending $3,000 in the first 3 months of card membership. Now, at a minimum, 15,000 points can be redeemed at a value of 1 cent per point for flights in the Amex travel portal. So 15,000 points will be worth around $150 or potentially more if you know how to transfer them for travel. And I'm gonna give an easy example of how to do that in just a minute in case you're new to Amex points. So $150 in value at a minimum for $3,000 of spending to get that bonus is a 5% return on spend, which isn't that great to be honest when you compare it to some of the other cards in this Trifecta and their bonuses. But the Blue Business Plus also has no annual fee, so I guess you can't complain. Then for the Amex Gold card, the current public offer is for 60,000 MR points after spending $4,000 in the first 6 months of card membership. But right now I've been seeing a lot of targeted offers for 90,000 points for the same minimum spend. So if you can get that offer, then 90,000 points at a minimum of 1 cent per point is $900. And for $4,000 of spending, that's a 22.5% return on spend, which is pretty good. And again, those points can be worth even more when you transfer them, which I'm gonna talk about next. Then for the Amex Platinum card, the current public offer is for 80,000 MR points after spending $6,000 in the first 6 months of card membership. But right now I've also been seeing limited time targeted offers that you can find for 100,000 or even up to 150,000 points for the same minimum spend, which is a very good deal. So at a 1 cent per point minimum for flights booked with points in the American Express travel portal, 150,000 points is worth at least $1,500. So for $6,000 of spending to get that, this is gonna be around a 25% return on spend. And by the way, you can redeem for cashback too with these cards, but that's only giving you 0.6 cents per point or around $900 in value for the same 150,000 points. So cashback is not a good option with the Amex Trifecta, and that's another downside. So stay away from cards like these that earn MR points if you're looking to get cash back instead of travel. Now, alternatively, there's also other versions of the Amex Platinum card, like the Charles Schwab Platinum, for example, that basically has all the same features. However, it also lets you get 1.1 cents per point instead of 0.6 cents per point when you cash out into your Schwab brokerage account. So that would be $1,650 versus $900 when comparing the 2 cash out options on these 2 versions of the Amex Platinum. So just something to think about, but you also have to justify the $695 annual fee on the Schwab Platinum, which can be tough to do in many cases. Now, really, when we're looking at the Amex Trifecta, the best way to use your points by far is going to be to transfer them over to travel partner programs to book things like first or business class, international, or long distance flights. And that's what I prefer to do, and I've made some other videos with examples of how to do that here on this channel, so I'm gonna link those down below if you wanna check those out after watching this. Now, I actually just booked 2 business class lay flat seats on Air France for my fiance and I to fly from New York to Paris later this year for 88,000 points plus almost $400 in taxes and fees, and that would have cost over $6,800 in cash for those same 2 tickets. So when we do the math, that's a value of around 7.3 cents per point, and that's way higher than those cent per point values for cash back that I just talked about. So if we look at my other options, I could have also redeemed those 88,000 Amex points for $528 in cash using any card in the Amex Trifecta at 0.6 cents per point point for $968 in cash if I have the Schwab Platinum version, or I could have redeemed 88,000 points for $880 worth of flights at an average of around 1 cent per point in the Amex travel portal. But of course, I would much rather transfer those points directly over to Air France like I did to then book those tickets worth over $6,800 in value. Now that brings up two more very important factors that kind of supports my argument that these cards are not for the average person. So first, to get the most value out of the points that you earn on these cards in the Amex Trifecta, you're gonna most likely need to be someone that wants to redeem those points for travel and not just cash back. Ironically, one of the only ways to get better cashback redemption value for Amex points is by having a different version of the Platinum card, like the one I just talked about earlier with Schwab. But for any version of the Platinum card to be worth it in the first place, you probably also need to be someone that plans to use it for at least some of the travel benefits that it has to justify the high annual fee. So you really have to think about what you want from a card like this. But even if you do want to use points by transferring them for hotel or flight redemptions, then the second factor for why the Amex Trifecta still might not be worth it is because the average person usually does not want to do all that much research and actually learn how to redeem points like I did in that example, because I'll be honest, it gets confusing and it takes a small investment of your time to learn. Now you can always get around 1 cent per point for flights that you book in the Amex travel portal, and that's just okay value, but you're leaving so much potential on the table and you're paying some really high annual fees with this trifecta just to do that. It is possible to learn how to transfer points and it gets easier once you get the hang of it. Plus, I plan to continue making videos showing how to redeem points with some examples. So a little plug here, but make sure you go ahead and subscribe down below so you can get the most value out of all your credit cards from my future content. Really helps out the channel, so thank you so much. But yeah, if you're not someone who travels and you're not someone that wants to learn how to redeem points the right way, then right from the start here, I'm gonna say to look elsewhere and ignore the Amex Trifecta and the 3 credit cards in it. Now next, I wanna talk about the credits that are offered on these cards, because even though there's some really expensive high annual fees, these costs can be offset if you're getting good value from these credits within your normal spending habits. And the key word there is normal spending habits, because you should not be changing how you spend your money just because you want to get a certain credit card. So the Amex Gold has a $250 annual fee, but it also comes with $240 worth of credits in the form of $10 monthly Uber credits and $10 monthly dining credits. Now these are use it or lose it credits, meaning that you can't roll them over from one month to the next. You basically have to use them every month or you get no value. If you're already using Uber Rides or Uber Eats, then you can pretty easily use that $10 monthly Uber credit. But to me, the dining credit is much less valuable because it only works with certain dining partners like Grubhub, Shake Shack, Cheesecake Factory, and a few others. So if you're someone that gets food from one of these dining partners on a regular basis, and if you use Uber at least once a month or so, then I'd say the Amex Gold card makes a lot of sense to have, because you might be able to get that full $240 worth of value throughout the year to almost completely offset that annual fee. Plus that card earns a lot of points on food spending too, which we'll talk about next. But then the $695 Amex Platinum card on the other hand has way more credits to keep track of. So now the joke has sort of become that it's like a coupon card because there's so many credits and most of them are pretty specific. There's a $200 Uber credit on this card as well, which is split up into $15 per month and $35 in the month of December. There's a $240 digital entertainment credit split up into $20 per month that only works with certain services like Audible, Hulu, Disney Plus, and a few more. There's a $200 hotel credit, but only for select hotel programs that are booked through Amex Travel. A $100 Saks Fifth Ave credit, which is split up into $50 per 6-month period. And the list goes on a little more, but I can't go over everything here or else I'd end up making this video over half an hour long. But I did go over all the benefits of the Amex Platinum card in detail in another video that I'll link to down below if you want to learn more. And then for the Blue Business Plus, again, there is no annual fee on this card, so Amex does not include any credits on this one like the other two. And I also got to mention that this is a business credit card, so you do need some sort of a business to get approved. The good news is that the definition of a business is very broad, so as long as you have any kind of a small business or a side hustle, then you should be able to qualify. But even then, right now, I personally like to only use my business credit cards specifically for business expenses, which kind of limits how much I use my Blue Business Plus. And by the way, let me know down below if you want me to make some more content on business credit cards in the future. But okay, now I also want to go over the points earning categories that each of these 3 cards is going to come with, because that's the most common everyday way to earn points. So if you like to travel and you're not looking for cash back, plus you know how to redeem points, or you're willing to learn how to get more value from those transfer partners, and then if the credits and benefits fit your lifestyle on any one of these cards, then next you can look at these point multipliers to estimate what you might earn from your monthly spending. So starting with the Blue Business Plus, you get a flat 2x points per dollar on everything on up to $50,000 of spending per calendar year before you go back down to 1x back on everything. Now 2x points on all your spending makes this a good catch-all card. But again, the downside here for many people is that this is a business credit card. And to be honest, I really wish that Amex offered a personal version of the Blue Business Plus so that more people could see this as a good option for everyday miscellaneous spending, kind of like the Freedom Unlimited card from Chase, but we'll just have to wait and see if American Express ever offers something like this in the future. Now moving on to the Amex Gold card, and this is where we can start to really earn a lot of points. So the Amex Gold gets 4x points per dollar at restaurants worldwide, and then 4x points per dollar at US supermarkets on up to $25,000 in purchases per year. Plus you get 3x points per dollar on flights and 1x point per dollar on all other eligible purchases. So obviously this is a really good card for food spending, and that's why it's probably going to be the card from this Amex Trifecta that I'll use the most this year. And you can see my full 2-year review of the Amex Gold in another video that I'll link to down below. Then third, for the Amex Platinum card, you get 5x points per dollar on flights that you book with airlines or through American Express Travel on up to $500,000 of spending per year. You get 5x points per dollar on hotels booked through AmexTravel.com, and then 1x point per dollar on all other purchases. So this is a card that I use whenever I'm booking flights in cash and not redeeming points, because it's earning 5x points and it also comes with good premium travel protections. But some people also occasionally use the Platinum card to book hotels through Amex Travel, especially if they're part of the Fine Hotels and Resorts or the Hotel Collection, because this card also comes with that $200 hotel credit that works on eligible 2-night stays through those Amex programs. Now at the beginning of this video, I basically said that I had 2 main issues with the so-called Amex Trifecta, with the first one being that it's not targeted towards the average person, and then the second issue being that the 3 credit cards in this setup do not complement each other, as well as some other trifectas out there from some other issuers. So I think I kind of have already explained pretty well why these cards might not be for the average person, but that really boils down to the fact that the annual fees are high on the Platinum and Gold cards. The credits are very specific and not useful to everyone, and because the membership rewards points that you earn with these cards are highly devalued for cash back at 0.6 cents per point, so your best option is to redeem for travel, which not everyone wants to do, or not everyone wants to learn how to do. At least other setups like the Chase Trifecta allow you to have a cashback value of 1 cent per point in addition to transferring points and redeeming for travel. But that leads me to my other issuer, that I don't think the Amex Trifecta cards complement each other that well. Now I don't want to hype up the Chase Trifecta too much because it obviously has its own flaws too, but along with better cashback value, Chase also gives you the option to pool together your Chase points from multiple cards, and then you can redeem them for 50% more value on the Sapphire Reserve or 25% more value on the Sapphire Preferred in the Chase Travel Portal. Doing that is not as good as transferring Chase points, but at least you're getting 1.5 cents per point or 1.25 cents per point, and it's why I think those cards complement each other much better and work well together in a setup. But then with the Amex Trifecta, even though your MR points still combine together under the same account, you're not really getting any extra benefits or boost in your points when you go to redeem them. You just get 0.6 cents per point for cashback, or maybe up to 1.1 cents per point with other versions of the expensive Amex Platinum card like I talked about. You get around 1 cent per point for flights in the portal, or you can transfer them to travel partners to get much higher value if you learn how to do that, but you don't need to have all 3 of these cards at once to get access to those transfer partners. So for me, I'd say you most likely do not need to get the full Amex Trifecta, but instead I would say to evaluate each of these 3 on a per card basis to see if they fit in and then complement other credit cards in your wallet well enough to justify what those cards cost to hold. You'll also want to redeem the points wisely and make sure that the credits, benefits, and other features are worth those high annual fees, but if they are, then any one of these Amex cards could potentially give you a lot of value. Again, they're not for everyone, so just make sure you do your own research. But if you want to learn more about the 2 personal cards in the Amex Trifecta, then go check out this video over here next on all the benefits of the Amex Platinum, or go check out this review video over here on my experience from having the Amex Gold for over 2 years now. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.